guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Amanda and I do videos about my real life and provide tips and advice, so feel free to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Today I wanted to share with you my whole financial journey, so brace yourselves, it's going to be a very long video, and so grab a snack or grab up some boba and let's begin. So my financial journey really started when I was about 15 or 16 and I got my first summer internship through high school. My mom took me to the bank to open a checking and savings account, and that's when I first got a debit card. I don't think our accounts were linked or that she was put on my account at all, but she was just there when I opened it. So this is around the time where I was trying to figure out what to major in college and what to apply for. My dad is really passionate about finance, so he was really encouraging me to major in finance. And of course, when someone, or especially your parents, try to encourage or tell you to do something over and over again, you kind of ignore it. So that is what I did. I knew he was passionate about finance and wanted me to major in finance, but I had no idea why or the reasoning behind it. So I ended up applying as a business administration major with a concentration in information systems instead. I got my first credit card maybe like right before college, around like 17 or 18 years old. And this was to help me start building credit. So going into college, I had a credit card and a debit card, and my parents wanted me to use the credit card to pay for any school expenses so that I could build my credit that way. They would send me money, and then from that, I would use that money to pay for my credit card bills. And they really wanted to teach me that I should pay all my credit card bills in full and on time. So I never bought more than I could afford. I always paid my bills on time, and that just really built up a good habit for me. And it really just doesn't make sense to buy more than you can afford. That's just what it really comes down to. I was extremely fortunate that my parents were able to cover my school tuition and all my expenses related to school, so I didn't have to worry about that. My dad did encourage me to take out a student loan for about like $3,000 to $5,000. Very small loan compared to others, so I'm definitely grateful. But even though he could have covered it, he wanted me to take out that loan to build even more credit. So I think that really helped my credit score as well. So I did take out that loan. However, I had no idea about how to repay it or where to go to repay it. I just didn't really research the student loan. I knew I had it, I just didn't know where, like what website to go to access it or see more information about it or pay it off. So yeah, I kind of ignored that loan until after I graduated, but more on that to come later. I got a second credit card while I was in college, and that had like 5% cash back on rotating categories every quarter, and you may be familiar with some of those credit cards now. You may even own one, but that was my first cashback credit card, because my first credit card back then, it wasn't really normal for credit cards to give cashback. So the second credit card I had was my first credit card to give me cash back. So 5% was really crazy good, and that's kind of when I learned what cashback was and how easy to use it was. And I also started using Ebates around that time as well. I did start using Ebates in high school, but I didn't really actually pick it up more until college. So with that credit card getting cash back, and with Ebates getting cash back, and that was the time where ordering online was more normal and common as well. So I just kept buying things online, using Ebates and using my credit card. Cashback is really beneficial. It's just a way to get free money, so I mean, why say no to that? I've been using Ebates for about 8 years-ish now, and I've gotten over like $250 over those years. So if you're interested in signing up for Ebates, feel free to use my referral link down in the description box below. I highly recommend it, but no, this video is not sponsored. I wish. So yeah, throughout college, my dad also was encouraging me to learn more about finance, even while I was already majoring in something else, and I still had no idea why. I just obviously ignored it like we do with whatever our parents say over and over and over again. So that brings me to post-college, or the end of my college career. It wasn't until after I graduated from college that I got a letter about my student loan, like, hey, it still exists, you still have to pay it off. And I was like, oh shoot, I totally forgot about it. So I tried to quickly pay that off. I don't remember exactly how I did it. I did have some money saved up from internships. I wouldn't spend all my money that I've made during my summer internships, and I or my summer jobs. I either paid my student loan off like half first and then half later, or like all at once, I'm not quite sure. But I just felt so annoyed at myself because I totally forgot about the student loan, and it racked up interest that I could have paid off a lot earlier and avoided. I definitely recommend doing some research on your student loans and trying to figure out how to pay those off, or where to access them, because I kind of didn't give a second thought about it, and I really regret that. In the end, I did pay off the student loan. I just regret letting it build up interest and not forcing myself to learn more about the student loans beforehand. So I was really lucky to get a full-time job after college, and so I decided to buy a car. My brother needed a car, and my dad recommended buying a new car to help build my credit as well. So thanks, Dad. I did buy a new car. My parents actually helped me with the down payment. They put a couple thousand down, which I'm really grateful for. I financed a brand new Honda Civic, and you know that's like one of the most affordable starter cars, and I'm really proud and grateful that I chose that car, because yeah, Civic is just a Civic, but I was almost going to buy a BMW or a Lexus because I thought I had earned it or deserved it because I just got a full-time job, and that is not the right way to look at it. So I'm so grateful for just buying one of the cheapest cars on the market. And I did buy new. I think looking back, it would have been nice to finance or buy a used car, but it's okay. It's very reliable, and I feel comfortable and safe in it, so I don't really regret that. I financed it over about 5 years, so I just finished paying it off last year. So the monthly payments on that was about $350 a month, and it was 0.9% APR. So it was very low interest, and I remember my dad being super excited about it being low interest, and at that time I knew what interest was, but at that time he was like, oh, since the payments are so low, you can invest the rest of your money. And I was just like, haha, yeah, I did not. And I didn't really understand why he was so excited about me having lower car payments instead of like paying it off in like 2 to 3 years, spreading it out across 5 years and having that extra money for myself. And looking back, that's just another mistake that I made. Sorry, Dad, I did not invest the extra money that I could have. Moving on, so I started my job. It was an hour commute away, 1 hour going there, 1 hour going back home. So I decided to rent closer to work for 2 years, and I split a place with my cousin who also wanted to live closer to his work to help his commute. Overall, we did find a really good rent for the area. We spent about $900 to $950 each per month, which is pretty good considering that in the Bay Area, people are spending at least $1,000, maybe even $1,200 at the lowest per person. So that was a good deal, but at the same time, I wasn't saving as much because I was paying rent. I think I wasn't as conscious about money. Like I wouldn't blow off all my money or shop a lot, but I would buy small things here and there, and just the small things add up. Check out my March expenses video. I'll link it up there in the cards. But yeah, it just shows that like even though I don't really spend a lot, I somehow spent $650 in a month. So it's just crazy. I definitely recommend tracking expenses to see, where all your money is going, because you never really know until you look at the numbers. On the side, I was saving everything else that I wasn't spending on, groceries, rent, gas, blah, blah, blah. But it was just kind of sitting in a savings account for a big bank, which means you're getting like 0.001% on that, which is like nothing. After renting for 2 years, I decided to move back home. Kurt was living back home, and so I decided to move back home as well. One, to be closer to him, and two, to save more money because I felt bad that I was spending so much money on rent when I could just live at home and just do the brutal commute. So that's what I have been doing for the past 3-ish years. I had been saving while I was living at home, and I was seeing my savings grow. For first it was $10,000, then it was 20, then it was 30, and I was like, okay, like that's cool. Like I must be doing something right. It seems to be growing. That's all that matters, right? Not quite. It wasn't until 2014 where I had been working for almost 4 years, and I finally started thinking about personal finance, and I totally recommend that you think of it as soon as possible. I just regret not starting earlier. Anyway, in 2017, I was very lucky that I had a friend named Kristen. She reached out to me and really talked to me about personal finance and investing, and she recommended the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and that book changed my whole mindset and my thoughts about money in general. And then she also recommended the Invested podcast with Phil Town and Danielle Town. In all of 2017, I was thinking about the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and also started listening to real estate investing podcasts because of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was diving into the Invested podcast episodes where they really try to encourage people to invest like Warren Buffett does. And I was just drowning in all this information, and so I was trying to do all my research before taking action, and looking back, I wish I had just done something. But yeah, so all of 2017, I kind of wasted just absorbing all the information that I could, trying to do research in the hopes that I would try to invest like Warren Buffett, like Phil and Danielle Town were recommending. But in the end, that just didn't really work out for me. I just didn't take action, and I didn't do anything with my money still, because the Rich Dad Poor Dad book is really great for changing your mindset, but it doesn't really give you action steps to do so. And then the Invested podcast, talking about investing like Warren Buffett, it just says to do a lot of research. And so I spent so much time trying to do research and trying to get into that, or listening to their podcast episodes, that it just prevented me from doing anything myself or actually taking action, because it just wasn't the right time to buy certain things, or I was still stuck in the research mode or research phase of everything. So I couldn't take action based on what they were saying in the podcast. That brings me to last year, 2018. I decided I had wasted a whole year just trying to do all this research about investing, and I hadn't taken action, that 2018 was going to be the year that I did something and that I started investing my money. It had almost been about 5 years of work, so I wasn't going to go any further without doing something with my money. It just kind of hit me that, okay, I have wasted 5 years already. I am not going to waste any more. I made it a goal to start investing by the end of the year. I asked some friends at work what they were doing with their money and what they were investing in, so that really helped to just kind of get some ideas on what other people were doing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it just because other people are doing it, but I also just wanted to get some ideas and opinions. My friend Kristen also then recommended the book The Millionaire Booklet by Grant Cardone, so I read that, and then my friend Kevin recommended the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, and I totally enjoyed both of those books. Around my 5-year work anniversary, I decided to start buying some stocks and index funds, and that's where my investing finally began. And I finished reading the I Will Teach You to Be Rich book towards the end of the year, and that really provided me with an action plan on what to do going forward, which really helped me get a plan into place. Last year, I also discovered a lot more podcasts revolving around financial independence and financial freedom, or just money podcasts like Choose FI or Bigger Pockets Money. And so those were really interesting to hear episodes on. And I also started hearing about the FIRE movement, which is Financial Independence Retire Early. And I started really getting into that. So in the summer, I also started tracking my expenses, and feel free to look at my March expenses video in the cards. And I also thought a lot about side hustles and making extra income. That leads me to this year for 2019. I have been really focused on trying to maximize my savings and increase my income in the hopes of being financially independent one day. So when it comes to cutting expenses, tracking expenses really is helping me get there. It's really opening my eyes to show how much I actually spend every month and what I could cut down on. I really try to only buy things that I really, really want or need, or that will really actually bring me pure joy or happiness, or that I really love. And it really makes me think about whether I really need a certain item or whether I can go without it. And that's really important, because whatever I spend now means that I can't invest it and let it grow for the future. So I'm really big on decision making and make each decision pretty important in determining whether I spend money on it or not. Also, in terms of generating more income, I'm still trying to figure out a side hustle or ways to generate multiple income streams. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm focusing on this year. I am very grateful and lucky to be debt-free right now, but I hope you enjoyed hearing about my financial journey. Obviously, everyone's is totally different, but I hope you enjoyed this one example of my journey. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to ask me any questions down below in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about personal finance. I'm definitely going to try to push out more videos on this topic, even though it's not the most exciting topic, but I think it's stuff that everyone should hear, especially at a younger age. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.